Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the lions thereof shall say unto thee, Art thou come to spoil the prey? Hast thou gathered thy multitude to take a booty, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, and to spoil a great prey? Ezekiel 38:13 from the 1599 Geneva Bible. Welcome back to Mystery of Our Ancestry. This is Caribbean Chronicles, Paradise Lost to the Spanish conquistadors of Hispaniola, being the Dominican Republic and Haiti, live and direct from the Isle. We today are talking about the history, her story of the island of what was called Hispaniola. The island was originally inhabited by three groups of native people: the Ciguayo, the Macorix, and the Taino. The Ciguayo and the Macorix were in fact inhabiting the island prior to the Taino. The Ciguayo were said to be from Central America, and in 1500, circa 1500, they formed a kingdom of Ciguayo, ruled by a cacique, who's called a noble, and the females were called cacica. The Spanish mated with these cacicas to gain indigenous resources. The cacicas, being the Ciguayos, inhabited the northeastern parts of the island, being the Samana Peninsula and the north coast towards Nagua. The place name Ciguayo, which means very mountainous, may have originated from the Ciguayo of the island, who were not Arawakan or Caribbean, being those people from South America. Most likely, as I've said before, the Ciguayo originated from Central America. The Ciguayo were thought to be Caribs by Christopher Columbus, otherwise known as Christopher Colon, who described them as having bows and arrows with long hair and painted bodies, although they walked around completely nude around the island. They were encountered on January 13th, 1493 at the Bay of Samana. And Christopher Colon writes extensively about, well, not extensively, but writes about them, mentions them in the Christopher Columbus Journal of the First Voyage of Columbus, edited and translated by Clements R. Markham in 1893, if you want to take a look at that work. The Ciguayos were also described as fierce warriors. The other group to inhabit the isle was the Macorix, who were related to the Ciguayo in terms of also being Central American rather than of South American origin, as the Taino were believed to be. The Central Americans were originally a mix of Mesoamericans as well as Colombian peoples. The Macorix were related to the Watanabe of Cuba, as well as the Waro tribes of Venezuela, Suriname, Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago. And they were the Waro that is typically described as darker skinned than many of the other native peoples of the Caribbean. The language of the Waro was also related to the Timucua, who were the people of northern Florida as well as southern Georgia, who are also described as a dark-skinned people and tall, which is why my belief is that the Macorix were likely also dark-skinned people, as they were related linguistically to the Waro. who are Timucuans. The Taino were the Arawaks, are related to the Arawaks of South America, and arrived on the island which was called Haiti by the Tainos in 600 to 650 AD. Page 131 of Columbus's journal describes the Tainos, who were the first people that he encountered upon arriving to the island. On December 24th, 1492, his journal for December 24th, 1492 reads thus: to the Spanish crown. Here, the admiral, being Columbus, or Colon, addresses the following words to the sovereigns. Your Highness may believe that there is no better nor gentler people in the world. Your Highness ought to rejoice that they will soon become Christians, and that they will be taught the good customs of your kingdom. A better race there cannot be, and both the people and the land are in such quantity, that I know not how to write it. I have spoken in the superlative degree of the country and people of Juana, which they call Cuba, but there is as much difference between them and this island and people as between day and night. I believe that no one who should see them could say less than I have said, and I repeat that the things and the great villages of this island of Hispaniola, which they call Bohio, are wonderful. All here have a loving manner and gentle speech, unlike the others who seem to be menacing when they speak. Both men and women are of good stature and not black. It is true that they all paint, some with black colors, others with other colors, but most with red. I know that they are tanned by the sun, but this does not affect them much. Their houses and villages are pretty, each with a chief, who acts as the judge, and who is obeyed by them. All these lords use few words and have excellent manners. Most of their orders are given by a sign with the hand, which is understood with surprising quickness. All these are the words of the admiral. On December 1492, in December 1492, Colon established the first settlement in La Navidad near modern Cap Haitien, and it was built from the timbers of the wrecked ship, the Santa Maria. Upon his return in 1493 on the second voyage, the settlement was found to be destroyed, and 39 settlers, colonialists, were killed by the cacique Caonabo of Maguana. Colon founded a new settlement as a result, east, called La Isabela in the current Dominican Republic in 1493, and the capital then moved to Santo Domingo in 1496 on the southwest coast. The Spanish returned to western Hispaniola in 1502 after leaving. 95% of the Taino population disappeared after the Spanish arrival in what is being described as nothing less than genocide. The population went from as much as 750,000 to a few thousand that set up villages elsewhere on the island. An estimated 400,000 Tainos were enslaved to work the gold mines, which Colon knew existed on this island and sought to find. And by 1535, only a few dozen of the Tainos survived. This is a very sad episode to record, learning how gentle and humble and giving and beautiful these people, the indigenous people, were, and to learn of their complete demise and devastation, all in the name of wealth and gold, is quite disturbing and sad. But it is part of the story, and that is what we bring to you here today. Stay tuned for part 2, where we will discuss more of the mystery of our ancestry, Caribbean Chronicles. Give thanks. Peace.